A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the editorial analysis and other dimensions, I would like to, in a nutshell, I would like to tell you guys what is the enrichment from today's session. What is it going to be? You're going to enrich from 7 areas point of view. The first one, comprehension skill. And based on the editorial, today's editorial is all about hazardous waste disposal, an important topic that goes with environment. And this, when I do the analysis, you will be able to improve your comprehension skill. That is input one. Input two, vocabulary. What are the words you're going to learn from today's editorial? Incineration, sordid, defunct, artifacts, impetus, sporadic. Coming to input three, grammar. While doing the analysis, I'm going to touch important sentence patterns and I'm going to talk about important idioms and phrasal verbs. They come under effective English. Input 4, from today, not every day but alternate days, I'm going to bring two topics that go with effective English. One is idioms, the other one phrasal verbs. A to Z idioms, A to Z phrasal verbs. Alternate days. And today A to Z idioms, which come under effective English. What are the 5 idioms you are going to learn? Add fuel to the fire, a dime a dozen, apple of one's eye, a blessing in disguise against the clock. And do remember when I bring idioms, these are the idioms I've given many a time. There's a possibility for these idioms to appear in the upcoming exams. They're very important. You can't afford to ignore. Input 5, based on the editorial, I may touch some important rules. That is the next one. And input 6, smart learning tips, smart learning, and also while doing throughout the session, I'm going to give tips. And coming to exam topics, today you're going to work on reading comprehension skill, error location, idioms, fillers, word usage, phrase replacement, all these dimensions. Now let us go to editorial vocabulary. But today I'm going to change the approach. If I read out all the dimensions here, it takes a lot of time. But because exams are fast approaching, now this is a crucial time, July to Feb. And each session, we are going to work on headlines. From tomorrow, I'm going to bring the headlines as well, editorial, plus mocks. Mocks are very important, English mocks, because exams, we have exams. Initially, the focus will be on prelims, later, mains point of view. I want to cut down the time. And from today, what I'm going to do, you can give the feedback also. I will read the word, I'll tell the part of speech, I'll tell the meaning. I may not touch the other dimensions. After the session, I'll provide the PDF. You please go through the remaining aspects that go with the word profile. And if it is okay, you give the feedback, but I can cut down a few minutes. 6 to 7, I did the same. I could finish off the whole session in 45 minutes. And remaining 15 minutes, I can bring new topics, new features. So what is the first word today? Incineration. This is in a way a scientific term and neutral also you can say. Part of speech, noun. What does it mean? The process of burning something completely. The key word here, burning, especially waste to ashes. Some waste you burn to ashes, that is known as incineration. And only the word, part of speech and meaning. Do remember, in the PDF you have all this. Defunct. Remember the word function. And defunct goes with something related to function. Part of speech, adjective. No longer existing, functioning, or active. Rather than the word existing, better words to remember, functioning or active. A particular system active in the beginning, later not active, then we say defunct system. It's an important word. Sordid, this is again an important word, part of speech, adjective. What does it mean? Involving moral distaste or contempt. You look down upon something, you find something disgusting. In that context, you have to use sordid. Simple English, dirty or unpleasant. Something is unpleasant, you should say sordid. The next word, artifacts. Artifact spelling could be ARTI, but standard English ARTE. Part of speech noun, artifact singular, artifacts plural. What does it mean? Objects made or shaped by human hands means manually. Something is done using hands. What is the word we use? Manual, manually. Yes, very good. Naidu, sordid motives. Objects made or shaped by human hands, often of historical or cultural interest. It goes more, the word goes more with cultural dimension that you have to remember. Impetus, another important word. Yesterday we got the word trigger and also stimulus, in a way related to those words, synonym. Impetus, part of speech noun, a force or influence that makes something happen or happen more quickly. You can also recollect the word catalyst. Catalyst, stimulus, trigger, these are the words you have to recollect. Thrust also you can. Nagesh, very good. Sporadic, it goes more with rains and violence also, incidents. Part of speech adjective, occurring at irregular intervals, scattered or isolated. Something happens regularly, we don't use this word, but happens once here, once there, on and off. Then we use the word sporadic. This is also an important word. Now let us go to editorial stimulus. I told you guys yesterday also, this color indicates vocab. This indicates pure yellow indicates grammar. Now, what is this editorial about? It is about, I don't know how many of you know this, perhaps many of you not born that time. Way back in 1984, there was a catastrophic event. If you ask, sir, where did it happen? Happened in Bhopal. In one particular plant manufacturing unit, toxic gases, there was a blast and gases got emitted and many people died. And based on that, something has been done, justice to the victims and the survivors. Based on that, this has been written. So, away from the edge, I'm sure many of you know the meaning of the word edge, but here it has been used idiomatically. Away from the edge means away from danger. On the edge, what does it mean? On the danger. Away from the edge, away from the danger. And why away from the danger? What exactly the dangerous aspect, hazardous aspect here? On waste disposal from the 1984 Bhopal plant accident. This is what I was talking about. And there's one important word here. A lot of people think disposal, and what is the other word form? Dispose. There's a phrasal verb. Dispose of. Many students think, learners rather, OFF. It is not correct. Only single F. Do remember, that's a common error. Get rid of, same thing that also. On waste disposal from the 1984 Bhopal plant accident. It's all about that and solution, finally, eventually. What is the main idea of the editorial? The incineration of toxic waste. Incineration means burning of toxic waste, hazardous, dangerous waste. From the Bhopal tragedy took time and effort. Finally, they could get rid of. Very good, Nagesh and Naidu also dispose of, get rid of. And it took a lot, two dimensions have been involved in doing that. One, it took a lot of time. Imagine 1984 and 2025, many decades, in fact. Second, effort of survivors, victims' relatives, and groups, NGOs, so many people. Now, let us go to any editorial like this. You have to guess. See, when you see the headline or the first sentence of an editorial or a passage for that matter, you should be able to guess the broad framework. This talks about a particular Bhopal gas tragedy. When did it happen? Way back in 1984. Now, why should they write now in 2025? That means after that incident, it's obvious that many people must have died, and still the traces are there, the toxic substances. Now, the government has to focus on two things. One, it has to take care of the victims and their concerns, And second, it has to take care of the waste. And the editorial touches both the dimensions. This is a broad framework. Now, it has to start with what happened, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened, all these dimensions. Then, victims, their problems, and disposal of the waste. Two important aspects. The Madhya Pradesh Pollution Control Board has confirmed, present perfect tense, that officials had incinerated, very important. Which tense is that? You could respond. Past perfect. I'm sure many of you know it is past perfect, but the question is, what is the difference between I have completed the work, I had completed the work? I have completed the work talks about a past action where time is not important, action is important. I had completed the work, usually in isolation, we don't use. There should be another clause in past. I had completed the work before I came here. Before I came here, that clause is in past. That means it is a second action. And we use past perfect for the first action. I had completed the work before I came here. Very good. Tripura Sundari, you are there. And Shrikant also. But use is very important. Exams point of view, they've given many a time. Had incinerated 337 tons of toxic waste, moved to a private waste treatment facility in Pithampur from the defunct Union Carbide facility in Bhopal. So, what does it talk about? It talks about the toxic waste, and it has been shifted from one place to another place. From which place to which place? From Bhopal to Pithampur. And how much? 337 tons of toxic waste moved to a private waste treatment facility. Now, based on this, you should guess. Imagine tragedy happened in Bhopal, but the toxic waste has been taken to Pithampur. Obviously, it is sheer common sense. The residents of Pithampur will object. Immediate reaction, spontaneous reaction. Why do you want to dump the toxic waste in our place? Why not in Bhopal? Why not in some other place? Obviously, that is a major concern that you have to keep in mind when you read the editorial. The event closes a single but important chapter in the sordid history of the 1984 Bhopal disaster. So, this is like an unfortunate incident, 1984 Bhopal disaster, and a particular chapter, this whatever the editorial is going to talk about, this event closes based on the action. A single but important chapter in the sordid, means something unpleasant history of the 1984 Bhopal disaster. The state response to which pushed the city and its people to the edge. Because the state government, though initially reluctant to take care of the concerns of the victims, eventually it acted. And based on that, the chapter is closed. The state response to which pushed the city and its people to the edge. Pushed to the edge means they were not comfortable, in danger. But now the solution has been, they have come up with a solution, the chapter is closed. They're successful. Based on that, what is the solution they could come up with? How could they close the chapter? The successful incineration is illustrative. In that, illustrative means demonstrate. Illustrate means demonstrate. It demanded interventions from the Madhya Pradesh High Court, the Supreme Court of India, and the Union Environment Ministry, among other stakeholders, over more than a decade. Initially, the state government was reluctant. It was not proactive. But based on the interventions, and this situation demanded interventions from different sources. One, High Court; second, Supreme Court; third, Union Environment Ministry; fourth, stakeholders like victims, survivors, and NGOs. Almost more than a decade they had to fight. And what happened based on their protests or fight? In the end, an important phrase you have to remember, the state government was able to arrange this, an important expression I'll explain, was able to arrange for the waste to be safely disposed of. This is what I was talking about, including an outreach exercise to assuage public anxiety over the emissions within 6 months at a cost of 126 crore. Now, whenever you come across data, numbers, do remember, focus on that. You may get a question. The sentence talks about how much time it took to dispose of the waste and why did they do it, and how much they had to spend. In the end, the state government was able to. I said this is something important. Why is it important? There are two helping verbs. One could, the other one was able to. Both talk about, we use to express past ability. But there is a subtle difference. What is the difference? Something not that difficult, we use could. I could do that work. I could do that when I was young. Not that difficult. But coming to was able to, past ability more difficult. Then we should use was able to. They gave a question way back 1987. I'm sorry, 2018 in SBI. Was able to. They gave a sentence like he could complete the work or he could walk a few kilometers with a fractured leg. It looks like the sentence is right, but it is wrong. Why is it wrong? Here, walking with a fractured leg, very difficult, uphill task. That to a few kilometers, very difficult. And based on that, we cannot use could. In that context, we have to use was able to. Because of the protest, very difficult task, here was able to has been used. Was able to arrange for the waste to be safely disposed of, including an outreach exercise, reaching many people to SUH. We got this word yesterday. You can respond with the synonyms. What is the word we got? Mitigate. Based on that, I gave words like alleviate, SUH. I hope you guys remember. And we have got the word SUH today. Public, reduce anxiety. SUH, public anxiety over the emissions within 6 months at a cost of 126 crore. Evidently, the means have always existed. Means what? They could have disposed of. Means were there, but did not happen. It took so much time. 1984 to 2025. Why? Because of lack of political initiative. The political initiative to effect them, another important expression, has been wanting, means lacking in this context. Want has two different meanings. I'm sure many of you know. One, I want a glass of water, regular meaning. Something is wanting, means what? Something is lacking. And here, political initiative was lacking to effect them. Very important. Why is it important? Many of our students know the difference between affect and effect. Affect is a verb, it's a regular verb. Effect can be a verb, it can be a noun, but usually used as a noun. Do remember to effect them. An important expression you have to remember. Has been wanting, present perfect, continuous tense. Has been writing, has been teaching. This is an important expression you have to remember. Then, if you ask me, sir, what is the use of present perfect continuous? Action begins in the past, comes to the present, may go into future. Then we should use present perfect continuous tense. This is an important detail. What is it? There's a question based on this detail because the sentence itself says important detail. Waste, once it has entered the environment, has a tendency to be converted to different forms. It seldom goes away. Imagine some waste enters the environment, it does not disappear just like that. The form changes, it gets transformed, it gets converted, and rarely it goes away. Now, this is an important word. You may ask, sir, why is it important? In English, we have a few negative words. Seldom is also a negative word, which means rarely. When we begin a sentence with a negative word, words like seldom, rarely, hardly, barely, scarcely, no sooner, then the clause should be in the interrogative form. Once in one exam, they gave a sentence like SSC, I suppose, seldom he visits his parents. Answer my question, is it right or wrong? Seldom he visits his parents. This is wrong. Seldom does he visit his parents. This is correct. It is also known as inversion, that you have to recollect. The toxic waste incinerated thus far. This is also an important expression. We can also use so far here. And if you ask me, sir, why is it important? It is wrong. Why is it important? It talks about, these phrases talk about a situation from the past to the present. Whenever we talk about a situation from the past to the present, we have to use present perfect tense. He has been our student for 2 months. She has been our professor for 5 years. Past to present. Very important. They've given many a time. The toxic waste incinerated so far, thus far, has yielded. See, based on this, here we have present perfect tense. And yielded is an important word. It has a positive meaning, it has a negative meaning. What is the positive meaning of yield, which goes with agriculture? Produce. And yield as a negative word, what does it mean? It means surrender. For surrender, we have a phrasal verb. What is it? Given. That is important, you have to recollect. In English, we have certain words which have both positive and negative meanings. And one more word I would like to bring to your notice, I would like to highlight rather, weed. Tell me what is the meaning of the word weed? Nowadays, weed has a different meaning altogether. Don't think of that, for God's sake. What is the meaning of weed? Unwanted plant in a garden. And it's a negative word as a noun. But weed as a verb, it means positive meaning. To remove the unwanted plants from a garden, it is positive. Another word important from the exam point of view, dust. Dust as a noun, negative. There's a lot of dust on the table. Dust as a verb, positive. I dusted the table means what? I removed the dust from the table. So if you are not good at these, if you don't know the meanings of these, obviously you get confused. Now coming to the second sentence, like solid waste landfills around the country, this new facility will require regular upkeep, monitoring, and funds of its own. First, they have to incinerate, then they have to take it to landfill. And in our country, across the country, we have a lot of landfills. Like any other landfill, they have to maintain the landfills. Three things are required here. This new facility will demand one, regular upkeep, means what? Regular maintenance. Second, monitoring. They have to keep monitoring. And third, funds of its own, obviously. And its own. I told yesterday also, it's wrong. And it can be, if you see somewhere, short form of it is or it has. But as a possessive pronoun, it never takes an apostrophe. Common error, people write letter writing yours. It is wrong. It should be yours. Because possessive pronouns never take apostrophe. Do remember. The site of the Union Carbide plant also retains several more tons of contaminated soil and other hazardous artifacts, dangerous artifacts. Site, again, you have to recollect three words: site, SIGHT, site, and SCITE. SITE talks about land or plot. SIGHT, your vision. CITE means quote. So these you have to recollect. And what does the sentence talk about today? Also, they have in that particular place hazardous artifacts plus contaminated subsurface. Surface down, subsurface. Oh, very good. Crucially, much of the impetus, the trigger, the stimulus for positive change. Initially, the state government was reluctant to act, not proactive, but the change happened. What brought the change? What was the impetus? Critically, much of the impetus for positive change in the matter, including waste removal, has come from present perfect victims' families. This is an important expression. What is the rule here? Victim singular, noun. Victims plural noun. And the rule says whenever a plural noun ends in the letter S, we should use the apostrophe after S. Excuse me, after S, not before S. Here, victims, families, survivors, groups, that you have to recollect. Has come from victims, families, survivors, and activists rather than from the state. Because of the pressure, the state acted. Survivors groups have filed present perfect tense petitions arguing that deaths and injuries continue to be undercounted. Actual number 20, we say 15, that is undercounting, and that they are owed inflation adjusted damages. Any negative incident, obviously, people, victims, and survivors demand compensation, and it happened in way back in 1984. After so many years, everything has changed. Based on that, they're asking, they demanded rather, they say they owe inflation adjusted damages. Imagine initially they wanted 10 lakh, but now, so many years, after so many years, inflation, they may ask 50 lakhs. The sentence talks about that. Since the Supreme Court closed the door on the curative route, also in dispute is whether a new valuation of losses can be forced on the Dow Chemical Company, notwithstanding the fact that it remains a proclaimed offender. Supreme Court has closed the door, curative route. Based on that, there's an issue, one or two issues which have become rather disputed issues. One, whether a new valuation of losses can be forced on the company, Dow Chemical Company. Whether it can be done or not done, disputed. Though the fact is that they are the offenders, notwithstanding, not considering the fact that it remains a proclaimed offender. Proclaim, verb. What is a noun form? Proclamation, publicly announcing something. Offender, someone who breaks the law. Paragraph of the editorial talks about what the state government's response and good or bad, positive, negative, and final analysis what has to be done. Long-term surveillance has been patchy, means not continuous, not systematic, not regular, on and off, here and there, with activists and survivors alleging that the advisory committee appointed by the top court has met only sporadically, and that local hospitals continue to suffer a shortage of specialist medical workers to attend to survivors. The sentence talks about the response. Long term surveillance has been patchy. This is a statement to substantiate two dimensions. One, with activists and survivors alleging that, first one, advisory committee appointed by the top court has met only sporadically. This is the first problem, first issue. And that local hospitals continue to suffer a shortage of specialist medical workers to attend to survivors. Second issue. In the final analysis, Doe must account for all remediation activities. Account for an important phrasal verb. What does it mean? Answerable. Account for means answerable for something. All remediation activities. Remedy means solution. Both the state and the center must close pending settlement claims. Here we have an important expression, both and. What is a common error? Both as well as. Right or wrong? Wrong. We have to use both, always takes both and. Both the state and the center must close personal obligation, pending settlement claims, and attend on a self-motivated basis to the survivor's well-being. It is the opinion of the writer, if required, with the assistance of a new statutory body. If it demands, they have to establish a new statutory body. There's an important word here. Statute means what? A written law. Statutory means a legal body. With what purpose? To unify health, relief, and remediation goals, taking a holistic approach. How does the editorial end? Ultimately, the families must be able to move on. I am sure many of you know the meaning of move on. It goes with informal English. What does it mean? Forget something and keep moving. It ends on that particular note. It has taken almost 25 minutes, but 67 session, it took only 20 minutes. It happens sometimes. Now let us go to mini mocks, English mocks, first 6 questions based on comprehension skill. And today I have brought the timer so that you can have the feel in the actual exam. You have to keep the time factor in mind. Based on that, I have brought the timer. And first to six questions are based on reading comprehension skill. Your time starts now. First question is based on the theme. What is the central theme of the editorial? Oh, you have answered within no time. I've already explained, Mr. Raghu. Who is this? Raju. I've given the meanings, but word profiles, I'm going to introduce new features, so I did not do that. I'll provide the PDF, try to access. Your time is up, and many students have responded. Answer B, that's right. The delayed but eventual incineration of toxic waste from the Bhopal tragedy and the need for sustained, continuous state accountability, holding something for a long time. Question number two, based on comprehension skill. Your time starts now. What best describes the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial, celebratory and proud, detached and objective, critical yet cautiously optimistic, indifferent and skeptical. It is about a particular negative incident, so you cannot consider positive words, and not neutral also. So, what is the answer? Your time is up. C is the answer. Question number three, your time starts now. Explicit info based information means mentioned in the passage. Easy to answer. How much did the incineration project cost the Madhya Pradesh government? 200 crore, 100 crore, 126 crore, 150 crore. Answer is yes. Your time is up. C is the answer. 126 crore. Implicit info based question. Your time starts now. Implicit means implied, indirect, not mentioned in the passage. What does the editorial imply about the government's response over the years? Positive or negative? Obviously, negative. Based on that, you have to select the appropriate option. Please mention the question number. That is important. Now, question number four. Your time is up. Proactive, positive one, you cannot consider. It lacked initiative and was largely driven by public pressure, seems right. Underestimated the damage, not mentioned. Not mentioned. Question number five. Your time starts now. A writer's view based question. This is also very important. What is a writer's opinion on long term medical care for Bhopal gas victims? Question number five. Answer is C. It is inadequate with hospitals lacking specialists. Mentioned in the passage in a way. Inference based question. This should have been question number six. Your time starts now. What can be inferred about environmental waste based on the article? There's one sentence that talks about environmental waste. So, what can be inferred? What conclusion can you come to? Once removed from site, it poses no further danger. It can easily be destroyed without consequences. Your time is up. It transforms in the environment and requires scientific disposal even after incineration. This is the answer. Now, let us go to exam topics based questions. First question is based on error location. Try to spot the error. Your time starts now. Identify the part of the sentence that contains an error. Most of the dead are young, poor migrant workers from northern and eastern India who often lack social support. Please mention the question number. Time up. Here the subject. Bank exams, SSC also quite often ask questions based on subject verb agreement. What is the subject here? Young, poor migrant workers. Most means plural. Based on that, here you should not consider who are. There is a plural verb. Don't consider all these. And there is a clause here who often lacks. Lacks is not correct. Who often lack. Answer is C. Question number 2, based on fillers. Your time starts now. The blast at the unit has once again put the on safety standards in pharma manufacturing. Please mention the question number. Your time is up. Has put the limelight. You can consider this shadow, no. Impression, no. You can consider this. In a way, they are synonyms. Now you may ask, so how to decide? Someone or something in the limelight, we talk about that thing or that person. But context talks about focus. Put the focus on someone or something again. Based on that, here we cannot use the word limelight, we have to use the word spotlight. C is the answer. Very good. Question number 3, fillers based. Your time starts now. Trained personnel and competent staff are critical in what? Hazardous units safely. Sometimes what happens, they give the same word different forms. Noun form, verb form, adjective form, adverbial form. And based on the context, you have to decide which form is a correct expression. Your time is up. Here, trained personnel and competent staff are critical in what? In doing something, in reading, in working. That means we need a noun that for that a verb ing form used as a noun. What is the technical term for that? Very good. Operation SSC. I appreciate that. Gerund. And based on that, you cannot consider any of these. Answer is C. Question number 4, phrase replacement. Your time starts now. While these are recommended practices, what is crucial is that plants must have a high level of safety culture. Given expression is right, no correction required. If not, choose the correct option. Time is up. Here we have the helping verb must. And you have to recollect an important rule. What is that rule? Imagine you have to use a verb after any helping verb. And that verb can be a helping verb, it can be an action verb. And what is the rule? This should be in bare infinitive, an important rule. And if you ask me, sir, what is bare infinitive? Basic form without to. And what is the verb here? To have. And don't use a to. Then you get bare infinitive. And based on that, here, had cannot be considered. It should be either must have or should have. Sentence talks about writer's personal opinion or personal obligation. Based on that, we have to use must have. Answer is B. Exactly. Triple Sundari. Very good. Personal obligation. Question number 5. Your time starts now. Phrase meaning. Rather easy. What is the meaning of put the spotlight back on as used in the editorial? Hide the issue, forget the past, bring attention again to a problem, remove from discussion. Time up. Put the spotlight back on. Focus on something again. Hide, no. Forget, no. Remove, no. Answer is C. Phrase meaning. Your time starts now. What does the phrase slip ups refer to in the editorial? Here it is a phrasal verb rather than a phrase. Industrial reforms, safety practices, human errors or failures, job layoffs. 30 seconds, a lot of time. Already a lot of students have answered. Now your time is up. Answer is human errors or failures. Question number 6, an important exam topic. Your time starts now. Word usage. Choose a sentence where the word mitigation is used correctly. Please read carefully. Morning batch 6 to 7. Many students could not get this correct. They gave a wrong answer. Who is this Operation SSC? First one to respond 7B. Let others also respond. We still have 3 seconds to go. Time is up. Here, mitigation already we have got. Reduce the pain of something. Reduce something that is negative. Based on that, here the factory called for mitigation to boost. These are not the right combinations. Immediate mitigation was necessary to reduce the impact of the explosion. Seems right. Engineer mitigated the machine by increasing its temperature. Doesn't make any sense. Mitigation was expensive and therefore avoided. Not relevant. 3 is not correct. Engineer mitigated the machine by increasing its temperature. No, we don't use it with machines. You may ask, sir, why not? Who is this? Operation SSC. Why not? Morning batch, many students answered C. But do remember, English is a combinational language. Based on the context, we use appropriate word. What is the context here? Based on the editorial, reduce the intensity of something. Intensity means the pain, negative aspect. And here, impact of explosion, negative. Reducing that, mitigation. Context is very important. Question number 8, word usage. One more question. Your time starts now. In which sentence is the word benign used correctly? Benign means what? Positive word, harmless. The explosion was benign and caused 36 deaths. The chemical is benign and does not react with skin. His attitude was benignly aggressive. Benign substances should be handled with weapons. Answer is obviously the chemical is benign, your time is up, and does not react with skin. Statement positive and explanation does not react with skin. Answer is B. A new feature today it is idioms, from tomorrow phrasal verbs, alternate days. A to Z idioms, A to Z phrasal verbs. Today it is idioms. You see 2 columns, column A, column B. Column A idiom, column B meaning. You have to match. And do remember these are important idioms I've given so many times. Banks and SSC. All these should be at your fingertips and try to get all the 5 correct. Benign means benevolent. Yes, Nagesh, you're right. Add fuel to the fire means what? We got this yesterday. I told you guys. Make something worse. Answer is C. A dime a dozen. This is easy. Add fuel to the fire, but a dime a dozen is difficult to guess. Some idioms are easy to guess, some idioms are difficult to guess. A dime a dozen, why is it difficult to guess? Because dime is US currency, not our currency. Based on that, you cannot guess. But the meaning, who has responded? Very common. D is the answer. Apple of one's eye. They have given many a time. If you take an office workplace, imagine there's a manager. He likes a particular employee. Then we say he is the apple of the manager's eye. Based on that, deeply loved or valued person. B is the answer. A blessing in disguise I use quite often. Something initially negative but later positive. Something good hidden in misfortune. Answer is A. Against the clock. Race against the time. Race against the clock. Rushing due to time limit. So you are left with E. Who has got all the five correct? Excellent. Then it is highly appreciable. That's all for today, and I have spent 45 minutes. But give your feedback because today I have not spent time on word profiles. I've just given the meaning, part of speech, meaning, that's it. Usually I touch the word profiles. I'll be providing the PDF. Join the Telegram group. You can access the PDF. There you get the word profiles. Try to spend some time. Do remember, you may ask, sir, why? The reason for that, exams are fast approaching. July to Feb, you should be on your toes. And though we spend time from tomorrow, I'm going to get headlines, editorials, main objective of this session. I want to spend half an hour on mini mocks. For that, we need to create more time. For that, keeping that in mind, I'm cutting down a few aspects and I will introduce new topics so that you will be ready for the exam initially from prelims point of view. That's all. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for being with me till the fag end of the session. And do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you. I'll bring all the exam topics